Hello and welcome to Mechwarrior Online. Today I'm doing my review of the Ebon Jag Bravo, but this B is altered. Call it a hodgepodge if you will, but it still has this beautiful paint job. Big fan of this guy. And you're going to be familiar with this build. Everybody sees it on the battlefield. Usually you see it in a Timberwolf though, but I believe the Ebon Jag Spirit is also the same build. You get 2 large pulse lasers and 6 ER medium lasers. 6 ER medium lasers and 2 large pulse lasers. Why does this seem to work? Well, it's pretty easy. Let's look at the optimum range. So the optimum range unskilled is 550. And the optimum range on the medium lasers is right around 400. So that's not too terribly far off, but it's still somewhat close. Now, the optimum range with the skills applied is 460. And when you look at the skills of the large pulse lasers, you can see that you're going to be able to get right in that range that the ER mediums can do and still be able to have similar damage as long as you're in the optimum ranges of the ER mediums. What a lot of people do is they fire these two simultaneously and then they follow up by firing these in groups. How I typically like to do it is I have these tied into button 1, these tied into button 2, so left and right, and then I have these on my button 3, and I use these kind of like the way you would use missiles as a strike, and I strike those as I need them. But the benefit is because I put the medium laser here, that puts these two large pulse lasers up here. So I can use these for striking over the top of hills, and that makes perfect sense because they have the better range. As far as the skills of this mech, not a lot because this is a hodgepodge. So it does have the Bravo left and right arms, but it has the Delta right torso and Alpha left torso. That allows me to put together this kind of a build. And I think this build would only otherwise exist in the Spirit model of the Ebon Jag. But I am getting energy cooldown minus 5%. I'm getting base armor features of plus 10%. You come over here, I'm getting plus 7 on the armor. I'm getting plus 10 on the armor. And over to this one here, energy cooldown minus 5% and base armor plus 10%. So I am getting some stuff out of this build. I don't think there's any reason to change the head out ever. I've never come across anything that indicates that you can get anything special. Yep, no benefit. But what this mech does have is it has a firepower of 62. You can alpha strike that once, by the way. But if you do it a second time, you will be in overheat. Speed is 81. That's standard on an Ebon Jag. I just call it Ebon Jag versus Ebon Jaguar. And then heat is 1.36, which is stellar. As far as the features go of the skills, maxed out on range and heat containment. Laser features, of course, almost fully maxed out on survivability features here. And of course I added 2 additional overheat just in case it gets into a hot situation. Everybody says, oh, you shouldn't use your override. Well, those are the players that you typically see that are getting killed off in the matches because they went into overheat or they got too hot in a situation they weren't able to predict. And they shut down and then I get to kill them or somebody else like me does. I love it when people on the other team don't use their override and they shut down in front of me. Then it's like a free body blow. It's almost like somebody's holding their hands behind their head or their back. Cool run, heat containment, seismic of course. Does this look familiar? You'll see this on every one of my mechs, except for ones with ECM. Then you'll see these two clicked instead. But yeah, full radar deprivation and advanced zoom, because you can get out in the range with this. Another cool build to do with this is to do, instead of these, you can do 2 ER large lasers if you want a little bit better range. But these are once again to be relegated more to defensive weapons for close quarters. And then another build that you can do, it's tough because it's a hot build because you lose heat sinks and you're going to run out of spaces to put them, is to go with 2 heavy large lasers. It is a hot build though, I will tell you. Now let's just take a look anyways. There's one, and here's the other. You got room for maybe an active probe or a targeting computer, but the heat management is 1.32 now, and the range has gone way down. So the range now is closer to that of the ER medium lasers, which I guess kind of works out, but it doesn't give you any long, great range. And remember, at 960 without skilling, you're not doing anything. You're barely blowing in their ear. So I went with the large pulse lasers, partially because if you also look at this, the cooldown is 5.5 seconds. And if I reset, cooldown's 3.5 seconds. That means I can fire these way more often than I can the other. And sure, the other one's going to give me a nice, really good burn, but the other side of it is the heat on each one of these is only 9. But the heat on the heavy large lasers is 14.5. That is a lot of heat for only 5 more damage per unit. I mean, it's practically double. Anyway, so this is my build on this mech, and this is a great build to try out. And it's fairly easy as long as you remember to keep ranges, use cover, remember doors and corners. Those are places you get killed.